alongside Brandon Marshall and Rebecca Kopelman. And we do have this tornado warning that has been issued for parts of our viewing area. It's out around Grundy County, so that's in the far west. But we are seeing strong thunderstorms in that area, and additional storms will be possible around the area this evening, and conditions are favorable for tornadoes. We've seen some of those out around the Des Moines area, and we have a number of tornado warnings in effect from about Iowa Falls southward just to the east of Des Moines. So getting in tighter on the radar, there you can see it's just the southwestern corner of Grundy County that we're concerned about there, and the warning will be out until 4:45 this afternoon. At this point, it appears to be just Doppler indicated, but there have been, again, other reports of some small tornadoes out in that general area. And with the storm moving to the east-northeast, it'll be heading into the rest of Grundy County, at least southern Grundy County, as we go through the next 45 minutes. As it stands now, Liscum, Conrad, Gladbrook, and Lincoln are in the path of the storm between now and 4:27 this afternoon. And a strong area of low pressure is working its way across extreme northern Iowa, and a warm front cuts through our central counties, and a cold front extends through the central part of the state, and that is what is producing the spin to get these supercell thunderstorms going that could produce the tornadoes. So there's your cold front out to the west of us, and as that continues to move east tonight, it does pose the threat of severe thunderstorms, at least in our western and southern counties. We'll take you to our tornado watch now, and you'll be able to see that that extends from Grundy County back to about Cedar Rapids and then south into Iowa City and Washington. So all those counties in yellow there are where we have our tornado watch in effect until 10 o'clock tonight. And I know there have been numerous reports of tornadoes, and our team is looking into that right now. Can you tell me if anything is on the ground so far with the tornadoes, Brandon?
The specific warning right now for Grundy County, there is nothing confirmed with this specific storm. Again, it is just radar indicated, but of course it is fully capable of producing a tornado. The storm located around 10 miles northwest of State Center or towards Nevada, and they're moving east about 25 miles per hour. So nothing confirmed with this specific one. There is a confirmed tornado on the tornado warning storm further to the south, just east of Des Moines, however.
Yeah, that one looks pretty impressive on some of our signatures here, and you can see that storm just to the east, southeast of Des Moines. If you go a little bit further south, Rebecca, there you can see. Now, the good thing about that is that it is turning to the southeast, and if it continues to do that, hopefully it will not impact much of our viewing area, but you can see it's a very electrified, a lot of lightning in there, and certainly some very heavy rain. But there's the notch that's where the tornado is located. That would be just east-southeast of Monroe there. And that's where we're definitely seeing a tornado on the ground, but moving in a southeasterly direction, and hopefully we can keep that just out of our southern counties there around the Keokuk County region. But these other thunderstorms further north are ones that we are going to have to deal with, and we do have tornado warnings on those. And there's the storm there that could impact southwestern Grundy County. Now that one seems to be moving a little more east than southeast, but that could change because the way things are aligned in terms of instability today, most of these storms will eventually start tracking in a southeasterly direction. Not a lot of evidence on this one yet, but if you look there just to the southwest of Bangor, you can kind of see the notch that we would expect if there is going to be a tornado. And so just southwest of Bangor there, that is where our tornado is likely trying to develop. And there you can see there's even a little dried slot right in there where the circulation or the inflow is coming into the center of the storm. In terms of rainfall, these things have been prolific rain producers. Some went through our central counties earlier on today, and we're going to go over and maybe take a look at those. And you can see north of Cedar Rapids there, up in northern parts of Lynn County, some pretty good swaths of rain where I am sure rain totals of up to 2 inches were found in a short period of time. So that's up around Central City, Coggin, and Walker there. That estimate has 1.9 inches. And these storms actually are heading over towards Monticello. Can we go back to the actual reflectivity there? And we do have the Jones County Fair going on, and thunderstorms have just passed through Monticello, so it looks like you're going to get a break there for a while, but we'll have to see if some additional storms don't move in there later on this evening. But at least the worst of the storms have passed just east of Monticello, and from Cascade now back to the southeast of Anamosa. pretty good line of thunderstorms, and these are going to produce some heavy rains in the eastern portion of Jones County as they continue to move off to the east. One thing we haven't seen too much here is hail reports, but there could be at least some marble-sized hail in there. And there you can see some of the cities in the path of this storm, and that definitely includes the Peosta area, Asbury, finally over towards Dubuque, and then getting down into the northern portions of Maquoketa County there too, or Maquoketa that is, sorry. And so these storms, all moving in an east-southeast direction, will be impacting eastern Iowa as we go through the evening hours. Anything new to report over there, Brandon?
No, nothing to report on the storm that is heading towards Grundy County. It does look like, though, those two cells might even merge together, the one coming up from the south near Clemens and then the one near Bangor, at least from what I'm seeing.
Sure. And something else we want to mention too is that Nick Stewart, our meteorologist, is out with our brand new road warrior, and he will be tracking the storms and will be able to bring us some pictures here hopefully within a half an hour. Actually, he can see his camera is up now, still a ways away to show much in the way of action, but he is approaching the tornado warned storm out to the west of us. So as soon as he gets some images, we'll definitely get those back to you, and we'll check in with Nick to let you know what he is seeing out there to the west of Cedar Rapids. But that is looking pretty healthy right now, as you can see. Now, the other thunderstorm down to the south is the one that has produced a confirmed tornado, and that one continues to move southeast and still looks pretty healthy. And one of the things that we can tell you today is that there is certainly a lot of wind shear in the atmosphere. Sometimes that's a little minimal, but today got good directional wind shear. The wind's out of the southeast at the surface, more west and northwest aloft, and that's what's going to get these storms to spin up and rotate, and that's what we call supercells. And those are the ones that we are concerned about for tornadoes. Hopefully most of today's storms will be on the smaller side, but there was one down near Des Moines that did have a little girth to it, so it's something we're going to have to watch here closely, particularly in our western and southern counties. In terms of the instability today, it is much, much higher in our far western and southern counties. The warm front has not made it very far into our viewing area, and so the temperatures are pretty cool around here, but you go just a little bit to the west in Des Moines and it is near 90 degrees, while here temperatures are only in the upper 60s to lower 70s in parts of our viewing area. So it's that contrast in temperatures that'll create the instability necessary for our strong storms. And currently you can see Tama is at 76 degrees and Iowa City is at 75. But Washington, that's getting a little warmer down that way, pushing 80 degrees in that part of our viewing area. So I personally think it's going to be the far south or west that has the better chance of seeing the stronger storms today. And it's only 67 right now up around Waterloo. So some rain cooled air definitely in that area. And a little bit larger view of all this, if you kind of look to north central Iowa there, you can see how the greens extend from South Dakota to Minnesota and northeastern Iowa. That is where we've got a cooler air mass, and that's just north of our low pressure. South from that, our cold front extends through central Iowa, and then the warm front kind of intercepts that, I'd say just north of Des Moines there, and then cuts into our far southwestern counties. So that's where we call a triple point. And the triple point is a pretty good area for strong thunderstorms to develop near and to the southeast of that, and it will be moving east-southeast and coming into our western and southern counties. So again, if you're in the west or the south, we do have a tornado watch that is going to be in effect until 10 o'clock tonight. And there you can see once again the counties that are involved in that. So it does include areas like Parkersburg up there in Butler County, and then it extends on down into Tama County and off to the east towards Cedar Rapids and finally to Washington. So that part of our viewing area definitely is the region that stands the best chance of seeing the stronger storms tonight. And here's something new just in. You want to report what you got going on there, Brandon?
Yeah, we have a severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued for Jones County. That is until 4:30 here this afternoon. Wind gusts of around 60 miles per hour, as well as nickel-size hail are likely, and with a heavy rainfall with the storm. It is moving, again, about 35 miles to the east, and we'll be heading toward the Wyoming area here very shortly.
I can also tell you there's going to be some really heavy rainfall. Seems like these things are dumping it pretty fast today. You know, earlier in this morning around Williamsburg, up to 4 inches of rain fell there. So these things do have a history of cranking out the rainfall, and in some spots there could be some localized flash flooding. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but something you might have to pull over and just kind of wait it out for 5 or 10 minutes. And there's Nick as he heads down the interstate there. He's approaching the storms from the east, and he'll be getting on this one here probably in the next 15 or 20 minutes. So what we want to see from him there is a little bit more of the base and the actual rotation of the storm out in the central parts of the state. And we also have some pictures of the tornadoes from earlier today out around the Des Moines area. So we'll go to that when we get a chance here. There's again is our tornado warning, which is out for Grundy County, at least the southern parts of Grundy County, until around 4:46 this afternoon. And so again, that's a pretty nice looking cell there. No actual confirmed tornadoes, but there appears to be a bit of rotation, especially on the western edge of that. And here's one of the tornadoes earlier today. I believe this is around the town of Bondurant, which is just east of Des Moines. That tornado there, not overly large, however, it's just a tornado just the same. And we have other images that have come to us today that shows the storm's a little bit bigger than that. But this was kind of when it was developing out around Des Moines earlier on this afternoon. And taking you back to the radar again, there's the storm that is getting up towards Conrad in southwestern Grundy County. So let's go in just a little bit closer on Conrad up there, and you can kind of see the northeastern edge of the storm beginning to impact that area. And where you can see the colors there, there's some pink in southwestern Grundy County and then some green northwest of that. There is some broad rotation there, but it doesn't look like anything that's overly tight. However, that's something that could change, and that is why the National Weather Service has issued the tornado warning and extended it up there into southwestern parts of Grundy County. So that's one area to keep an eye on here. But the main threat, I would say, is further southwest of that. And here's that other storm system now that's located northeast of Pella. And that one, you can see a pretty good couplet there. Notice the yellows and the reds in there. That one is a much stronger storm, and that one has had a confirmed tornado, and it's been on the ground for some time now. And there is another picture of it, and that looks like a pretty good sized tornado. Nice wall cloud, good circulation there. That's what you look to see for stronger and more violent tornadoes. So unfortunately, that is not in our viewing area. However, it is tracking to the east-southeast, and it's possible that could clip some of our western and southern counties here as we go through the next hour or so. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that, but a confirmed tornado from that strong storm there just northeast of Pella, moving east-southeast. Brandon, anything new on the chat you can report to us, sir?
I'm kind of looking around.
Not seeing much?
Nothing. No, nothing. At least with the storm that is currently in a warning for Grundy until 4:45. Yeah, just continuing observed, or not observed, a confirmed tornado with that storm. So at least nothing confirmed on the ground with that one.
Okay. And going back to that Grundy County warning, if you go in closer and way off to the left of the actual storm there by Minerva, that's the area to watch for developing circulation that could produce a tornado. So far, nothing confirmed there, but that's the kind of notch you would look to see with the dry air coming into the center of the storm. And there is definitely some circulation going on there. You can see right to the south of Minerva, the reds and the greens bumping up against one another, signaling opposing winds. So that's what's known as a couplet, and that's where your tornadoes develop, and there is the possibility one will spin out of that. If it does go east, though, that should go south of Grundy County, where the warning is actually in effect. So that part of the cell looks like it's going to track a little bit further south, but eventually that could get in onto Benton County, and that's an area that we'll have to watch for another warning here as we go through the next hour or so. Go back to the storm south of there, if you would, Rebecca. And this is a really classic looking, that's a pretty nasty looking storm there. You can see just east of Pella, that what appears to be potentially a debris ball in that area there. That one's really wrapping up, and right where the arrow is where the circulation is being drawn into the storm, and it's just west or southwest of there where the actual tornado would be occurring in that orange area around Pella. And just north of there then, where you kind of got those bright reds and even a little bit of pink in there, that's where some large hail is very likely occurring. So that would be to the west of New Sharon there, probably about 15 miles or so. But that is an extremely healthy storm. In fact, I'd like to know the echo tops on that, if we can go back to it. And that's the storm that's produced this tornado within the past half an hour or so.
And the Polk County Sheriff did report some extensive damage in Bondurant. That storm went through Bondurant probably within about, what, the last 30 to 40 minutes or so. The extent of that damage is unknown, but according to the sheriff, there is extensive damage in the Bondurant area.
And that's the very first picture we showed you, where the tornado was pretty skinny. So apparently it did widen out a little bit and cause some damage in the Bondurant area. And this is some new video that's just come into us here, and it's a little hard to make out, but I guess this was taken earlier around Bondurant. And cell phone video, kind of hard to pick things out in here, but clearly that was one of the storms that caused some problems earlier on today. And I was talking about those storms there. Here you can see it a little bit at the end there. That storm that's northeast of Pella, almost 60,000 feet in the atmosphere. That is a very, very large thunderstorm there. Doesn't get a whole lot larger than that, so that's why we're concerned about these storms today. And there's the Bondurant storm. You can see it there. The guy shooting it kind of moves around a bit, but there it is. And there's Bondurant apparently, and that definitely went on to produce the damage that Brandon was talking about. That storm around Pella, nothing new coming out of that then, Brandon?
No, not seeing anything new. There are some spotter reports of a large tornado on the ground around 3 miles north of Pella. That came in momentarily, or not too long ago. So again, there is, according to spotters, there is a tornado on the ground. Of course, we've seen visual confirmation of that as well.
Rebecca, I want you to back that out a little bit there, that radar screen, because I want to show where that storm is located in reference to our viewing area. And you can see Sigourney there, and that's Keokuk County. And with the storm moving to the east-southeast, it does appear that parts of Keokuk County will be threatened by this, but hopefully the really strong part where the tornado is going to track a little bit further to the southwest and just miss our viewing area. So that's certainly good news, and that's right on the leading edge of that very hot air that's produced an 89-degree temperature in Des Moines. So right in that area, that's where you got your maximum instability. That's where your warm front is located, and that's also driving the back winds that are causing these storms to rotate and produce tornadoes. So we're going to go back up to the one just to the west of Tama there, and that's probably the one that would impact our viewing area, and that's looking pretty healthy too. I mean, there's definitely an inflow tail there, and so I would have to say that storm is one to be concerned about, with tornado potential as it approaches Marshalltown and then heads on over to the east and could get into parts of Tama and Benton counties a little bit later on this evening. And there is definitely some rotation showing up there on our velocity mode, and it looks like that'd be just a little east of Clemens, I'm saying. Yeah, should be. Yeah, there you go, right in that general region, right in there. So if you're looking for this on the radars, you want to find those areas where you have two distinct colors that actually are kind of competing against each other. In one area, the winds are blowing off to the west, and in the other, they're blowing off to the east, or whatever the way the storm is going. And that's the rotation that could produce a tornado. And sometimes it's up in the mid-levels of the atmosphere and it never gets down to the ground. And I think that's what's happened with this one so far. But if it does tighten up a little bit, that's a nice looking couplet, and it is capable of producing a tornado. We'll go back to some of those other storms up to the northeast in our viewing area, and there is that severe thunderstorm warning, and that is out now for the southern parts of Jones County, southeastern Jones County. And there you can see where Wyoming is located, and off to the southwest of there you've got Morley, and the storm has passed through Anamosa, but there's a pretty good core in there that's capable of producing some strong winds, maybe 60 miles an hour, and some very heavy torrential rainfall. And Monmouth, Baldwin, Oxford Junction, and eventually Maquoketa will be in the path of that storm. Wyoming, it's also going to be quickly on you. So this is a thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. Don't have any rotation indicated here, but certainly the potential exists for some strong winds. Brandon, what can you tell me? Anything new over there?
Nothing really new coming out of the Weather Service, both from Des Moines or from the Quad Cities.
Just look at the two big storms, though, that you see to the west of us. Those are what's known as supercells. There's not a big line of thunderstorms. You can see the line now that extends from Dubuque back down to the southeast of Cedar Rapids and Anamosa. That's a real linear setup there, but these ones out to the east of Ames on the radar there, and of course the other one down around Des Moines, just floating around out there all by themselves. And those are definitely supercells, and those are strong storms. And we have had confirmation of tornadoes, and the southern one there, not too far away from Oskaloosa, is clearly the strongest right now. And that one is going to be approaching southwestern Keokuk County, west of Sigourney there, as we go through the next 15 minutes. And it is possible that a tornado warning could be extended into southwestern Keokuk counties. In fact, there's a pretty good likelihood of it if the storm continues to maintain its intensity.
Now, they did cancel the tornado warning for Grundy and Hardin County.
Okay. No, that's the northern storm.
Yes.
And that's the one that's in parts of our viewing area. So that is being discontinued, although that storm does look pretty healthy still. And
I think they're thinking it's going to go a little bit more
further east, southeast, which makes a lot of sense. And so what Rebecca was just saying there is that because the storm is now turning southeast, there's no sense keeping the warning out there in Grundy County. And so I guess for now, we do not have any additional tornado warnings in effect for our viewing area. So we're going to go back to regular programming, but keep in mind a tornado watch is in effect for our western and southern counties until 10 o'clock tonight. We'll be keeping a close eye on the storms. Our Nick Stewart is out there with our live picture from the Road Warrior. And if we see anything change, we'll certainly be back with you ASAP. So for now, that's it here in the Weather Center. From the Weather Center, this is Chief Meteorologist Terry Swales, and we do have a serious weather situation developing out to the west of us tonight. We have a strong thunderstorm likely producing a large tornado near Marshalltown, Iowa, and that storm is moving to the southeast and will be heading into Tama County, one of our western counties, and a tornado emergency has been issued for Tama County. If you're in that part of our viewing area, you need to seek shelter immediately. This is a dangerous storm capable of destruction and perhaps even producing fatalities. So hopefully the storm does weaken some, but right now it is very strong, moving through Marshalltown, heading towards La Grande, the Meskwaki Indian settlement, and eventually the Tama-Toledo area there, just to the southeast of Marshalltown. So if you're in western Tama County, this is a serious situation, a strong tornado currently located on the ground near Marshalltown. Other tornadoes today have done serious damage out around the Des Moines area, and we do have some pictures to show you on that, which we'll get to in just a moment, but I wanted to show you the storm couplet here. There is Marshalltown, and it looks like the actual tornado has come very close to the center of the town there. And based on the reflectivity that we're seeing there and the velocity modes, I would have to say this is a good-sized tornado and capable of doing some serious damage. So major problems in Marshalltown right now. The gate-to-gate shear on that storm has reached 130 miles per hour, and that means this is nothing to mess around with. You need to take shelter immediately if you're anywhere southeast of Marshalltown where that storm continues to track. Have you had any additional reports of this, anything out there, Brandon, on your chat from the National Weather Service?
Let me look around here. I do not see anything. They do say a catastrophic tornado, a confirmed large and destructive tornado was observed over Marshalltown, moving east at 25 miles per hour.
All right, there you heard it exactly what Brandon said. A large catastrophic tornado moving through the city of Marshalltown. That is a good-sized community. I'm not sure the exact population, probably at least 50,000 people though. And so right now, lots of issues in Marshalltown, and that is the storm that is moving southeast into Tama County. And a tornado emergency is in effect. You do need to take shelter from this storm if you are in western or southwestern Tama County. Currently, it looks like the track will be towards La Grande and then the Tama, Toledo area between now and around 5 o'clock today. And Nick Stewart, our meteorologist, is out with the road warrior, and he is taking some live pictures here. He has reached Highway 63 in Tama County, and we're going to switch over here. Rebecca, can you put the picture of Nick's GPS in there, and we'll show you where he is in relation to the storm. It's off to the right there. There you go. You got it. And here it comes again. We'll be able to show you where Nick is. Okay, there's his car there. And that is in Tama County, just south of Tama. So he's going to bust over to the west and hopefully come in from the south and bring us live pictures of this very, very strong tornado, which apparently has moved through the city of Marshalltown and continues to move southeast towards western and southwestern Tama County. Strong tornado has been indicated. In fact, the National Weather Service used the term catastrophic. So this is one of those storms you just do not want to mess around with. You really, truly need to take this one seriously. Can we go back to the velocity mode? And there is the couplet. And if you can just back it up a little bit at the top of the screen there, Rebecca, we'll be able to show you how that has moved right across Marshalltown. Can you grab the top screen? There you go. Just look at that. It's just kind of curved on to the southeast. And that couplet goes right into the Marshalltown area. So I'm very concerned about what they're going to find in Marshalltown there in the next few minutes. Now the storm continues to advance east-southeast, and it does appear that the town of La Grande could be in the path of that, and ultimately Tama, if it does hold together. And a lot of times these types of situations, the tornado will cycle, it will increase and decrease in intensities, sometimes it will even reform and may go away for a while, but I am sure there is a very, very strong wall cloud in that area with tight rotation, and as far as we know right now, a large damaging tornado on the ground just to the southeast of Marshalltown. Brandon, anything else you can add to that?
From the chat, I don't have anything, no.
Okay, nothing new or fresh there. I know Rebecca's over there working on some issues too. What I would like to show to our viewers is the actual tornado watch that is in effect for some of our western and southern counties, which does include Tama County there. And this also extends over to Cedar Rapids and Washington. But based on everything that I've seen so far, it is our far southwestern counties, maybe from Tama County into Iowa, Keokuk, and Washington counties, that stands the best chance of seeing these dangerous thunderstorms as we go through the next several hours. So if you're in that part of our viewing area, you need to pay very close attention. We have ourselves a real situation today with the large damaging tornado that has just passed through Marshalltown and is now heading into the southwestern portion of Tama County, where there is what's called a tornado emergency in effect. Those types of warnings are not issued very often. The only time it happens is when there is the threat for life from significant large tornadoes. Obviously, there's going to be major damage with that type of tornado, and that's why the tornado emergency. So if you're in Tama County right now, especially southwestern Tama County, got to take this one very seriously. All right, so there's where your tornado watch currently exists. We'll go back to the velocity mode now, show you where the actual storm is located. And there you can see where Tama is. And obviously the warning extends far east as Tama. But the storm itself around Marshalltown there is the one, at least that's where the core of it is. And that's where the tornado would be located. And again, we'll go in a little bit tighter on our velocity mode here. And that's where we can kind of signal where the rotation is. And there, once again, just to the east-southeast of Marshalltown is where we have that couplet. And we'll go back to show you our gate-to-gate shear here. And last we saw that was 130 knots. I'm curious to see if that has decreased a little bit. It's still 123 mile per hour shear though, so you're looking at opposing winds at least 123 miles per hour there. And there's the velocity notch where it's coming in at 56 miles an hour. So that's what's creating the hook. And that is a pretty impressive looking thunderstorm right there. And no doubt has produced a strong tornado and could continue to be producing one as we speak. The tornado warning then for Tama County actually goes until about 5 o'clock this evening. And now you're looking at the cloud tops to see how tall vertically the thunderstorms are. and this one is at 45,000 feet. Earlier today we had one as large as 58,000 feet. So this one not nearly as big, but just the same. Apparently all the conditions are there for a strong tornado with some pretty significant shear at the lower and upper levels of the atmosphere. And again, on the velocity mode, still got it on there. Does not show any signs of weakening just yet. And let's go in closer on that if we could, please. And there's where Marshalltown is, and then off to the southeast is LeGrand, and that's about on the Tama County line. And so LeGrand, if you're in LeGrand right now in western Tama County, there's a dangerous storm. You do really need to take shelter, particularly since this one is moving east-southeast and heading directly towards LeGrand from everything that we've seen here tonight. And if we put another fan on this and back it out a little bit, we'll show you some of the other towns that are in the path. And with the storm moving east-southeast, it'll be getting into Tama County in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And right now it appears that Tama Toledo is very much in the path of the tornado if it continues to hold together. And it would arrive in those areas shortly after 5 o'clock, around 5:05. So if you're in those areas, you do have plenty of time to take shelter. One area you do not want to be in is a mobile home. And you want to get out of there. And if you're in a house that doesn't have a basement, get into an interior room there, like say a bathroom. Get into the actual bathtub itself. And if you got time, grab some pillows or some blankets and make sure you get down and lay flat in the tub there. But mobile homes, of course, are the worst. Hopefully there's a shelter you can go to, or if you have time, get in your car and get out of that general area. But a tornado emergency is currently in effect for the southwestern portions of Tama County. And there you can see the large thunderstorm that is doing the damage as we speak, just east of Marshalltown, Iowa, heading off to the east-southeast. Brandon, anything fresh over there to report?
No, they are just continuing to reiterate a confirmed large and destructive tornado located over Marshalltown, moving east at 20 miles per hour with that storm. As you also said, Terry, tornado emergency doesn't happen very often, is indeed in effect now for the city of Marshalltown.
All right, and that is the highest level of warning that the National Weather Service has. And that's only been around for a few years. The reason they put it out is because in some of the bigger outbreaks in 2011, people just weren't that concerned about it. So when you hear a tornado emergency, that's not just a tornado warning, that is the highest end warning that is available. And it means a very serious storm is approaching your area. And that's why we're pushing this pretty hard now in the southwestern part of Tama County. And our velocity mode, I am sure, still shows some pretty good rotation in here. And there it is again. But one thing I can see in there, this particular scan, we don't have the yellows anymore. And if Rebecca, if you can back it up a little bit, you'll be able to show here just a few frames. See how that orange and yellow is moving out of there? That has weakened a little bit. So the circulation is not quite as intense. That does not mean there is not still a strong tornado, but at least it has not showed any intensity increase. And as it continues to move southeast, it'll be getting towards that Tama County border here pretty shortly. Speaking of that, let's push it off to the east a little bit and expand it and show you where Tama County is there. And that black line that runs just east of LeGrand is the Tama County line. So the thunderstorm looks like it's going to come pretty close to LeGrand there, and then eventually, if it continues moving southeast, should get over towards the Tama area. But sometimes these scans move so fast it's a little hard to tell. But when it goes right through Marshalltown there, you can see a really big core there, a lot of yellow in there, and that's when this was at its worst. And there could be some serious problems in Marshalltown right now. I'm surprised we have not heard any information out of there. I'll be anxious to know what has happened in Marshalltown. But the storm is definitely spinning southeast of there. Looks like that frame is weakened a little bit more, is that right?
Yeah, it does look like it's continuing to just kind of loosen up the circulation there.
Right. And I want to stress, a lot of time, this is very common for tornadoes. They go through what's called cycling processes, and they will weaken and oftentimes re-intensify, particularly with a large tornado. And with the conditions we have today, that's not at all out of the question. But if you can show me what the gate-to-gate on that is now, I suspect that that is lower than what we were seeing earlier, hopefully down around, yeah, look at that, 39, if you're in the right area, in which it looks like you are. So it has dropped from 130 miles an hour now down to 39. So that is significant weakening, and we are extremely happy to see that, because that was a really intense looking couplet there just about 10 or 15 minutes ago. So we're going to continue to watch that very closely. The storm is still very intense and has the potential of producing a strong tornado as it gets towards southwestern Tama County, where we have a tornado emergency in effect. If you're in southwestern Tama County, we would urge you to take necessary precautions and take shelter. Very dangerous storm at this point. Now, Rebecca, you were showing off to the east some of the other thunderstorms
They just put out a new warning.
Okay.
Yeah, in Jones County. So this is eastern Jones County, which is away from the Jones County Fair at least, but in Wyoming now, and just in the southeastern part of the area there.
All right, and you can see down towards Clarence on the southern edge of that storm. There's definitely kind of a little notchiness going on there too on our velocity mode. I don't know if you're going to see anything there that's very obvious, but where those greens are there, that extends, oh, you know, all the way from Baldwin back to Oxford Junction, right in there. No doubt some pretty powerful winds, potentially 60 miles an hour or greater. So wind damage certainly a possibility there, particularly in the southeastern part of Jones County, southeast of Wyoming, and now heading right through Oxford Junction. You can see Highway 136 there, and that extends on to the southeast towards Lost Nation. If you're in that part of our viewing area, you can certainly expect some very strong winds going through the next 15 to 20 minutes. But no tornadoes reported in that cell there. But out to the west of us, it has been a different story with the strong storm that has passed through Marshalltown in the past 15 to 20 minutes. And our tornado warning continues in effect for Tama County until 5 o'clock this evening. But our storm does not look nearly as intense right now. It has undergone some weakening. Yes?
Yeah, so definitely seeing weakening there. They have now gotten a report from Marshalltown. The courthouse lost the clock tower, and trees are down all over town.
All right, so the courthouse is right smack in the middle of Marshalltown. There's kind of a square there. So that's not a good sign to hear that, but at least the rest of the building is standing. So I'm encouraged by that. But yeah.
Also issued a new tornado warning for Marshall, Poweshiek, and Tama County until 5:30.
Okay.
Still saying confirmed tornado near Marshalltown.
All right, and based on what we're seeing now, it looks like it would be at least 15 to 20 miles east of Marshalltown. So there's no long. Yeah,
now.
is it near LeGrand?
There's been a report in near LeGrand, yes.
All right, and sometimes it takes our radar scan a little time to catch up. So it might be lagging just a little bit here, but if you're in LeGrand, now is the time to take shelter. This is the real deal. This storm has had a history of producing a large, violent tornado, and it is rapidly approaching LeGrand, where a tornado emergency is in effect. And from there, it heads on into Tama County, and we do have a tornado emergency there as well. Pretty much, though, this is the only storm right now that seems to be producing tornadoes. In fact, it's about the only one on the radar outside of one to the northeast of there. That's looked like it's in Grundy County now, and maybe just, yeah, there you go, Grundy County. That storm there has certainly flared up quite a bit, and we're hoping that that doesn't intensify much more. But with the parameters we're seeing today, a strong rotation out there is very possible, and this is the type of thing that can get tornadoes down to the ground. The cloud levels today are quite low, and that always increases or enhances the chances for tornadoes touching the ground, and that is the situation we're dealing with today. So that's one to keep an eye on up there in Grundy County.
They have issued a new tornado warning for Keokuk County now down to the south.
All right, and that's an area we don't want to forget about either. You can see, though, it just cuts across the southwest corner of Keokuk County. So not a lot of Keokuk County is involved, but enough that we're going to have to talk about that storm as well. And it's had a history of producing a tornado as well. Anything confirmed on that lately at all, Brandon?
There was a report of the Vermeer plant near Pella has taken pretty much a direct hit. There's a lot of damage. There are reports of injuries from around that area. That is what the National Weather Service has reported about maybe 15 minutes ago.
All right, why don't we go on to the velocity mode on that and see if we can determine where the circulation is. And my gosh, you can't miss that one now. That looks pretty potent. and probably right around Cedar there, which is a little small town. But that will be moving off to the east-southeast and will be cutting through southwestern Keokuk County. So if you're in Keokuk County, you definitely need to take shelter. Strong storm potential, a major tornado, that's a possibility. And so that's where we're looking at for the potential of a tornado, and that'll be out until 5:30. Now that right there says Mahaska and Wapello, so we want to get it over a little bit there where we can actually show Keokuk County. And there you go, 5:45 in Keokuk County. And it looks like the town of Hayesville there will be pretty close to that, but maybe a little southwest. So I don't think a whole lot of Keokuk County is going to be impacted by this supercell here. But just the same, we still have the tornado warning for 5:45 this evening. And with that, let's go back north and see what we can see with the storm that's produced a tornado near Marshalltown. Apparently a lot of damage there. The courthouse has lost its top and a lot of trees down in the city of Marshalltown as well.
The Marshall County is, they did put out an all call for first responders to head to Marshalltown after the tornado did go through the town. Population around 27,000.
27. And so, as you heard Brandon say, an all call for emergency responders in the town of Marshalltown. Typically, they don't do that unless they're anticipating a large number of injuries and potentially some significant damage. So we'll hope for the best in Marshalltown, but we do know they took a direct hit from a large tornado which continues moving southeast, and that will be moving into the western part of Tama County. But on our radars now, we have noticed that the circulation is not nearly as impressive. We don't have that dominant hook like we had earlier. So for this time frame anyway, the storm has weakened and is not nearly as strong. Still,
Gary,
yes.
We are now getting reports, the Weather Service is saying, of catastrophic damage out of Marshalltown. Vehicles missing, vehicles overturned, tops of buildings gone, trees down, power lines, gas lines, etc.
And there on, you can see on our picture, this is the tornado going through Marshalltown. And are you mic'd up over there, Rebecca?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that everybody could hear what you said. Why don't you go ahead and just repeat that? There's the actual tornado as it's going through Marshalltown.
So Marshalltown, they're saying reports of catastrophic damage, including vehicles missing, vehicles overturned, tops of buildings gone, trees down, power lines, gas line, etc.
All right, not a good situation in Marshalltown, and that's the storm that continues to move southeast, and it's certainly a possibility that that could recycle. But there you can see right there, that little yellow dot right over Marshalltown. We've got to go back to the radar to show you, but that's what we were seeing. Can we take the radar again, please? And we'll go back to the pictures after that. There's Marshalltown in the center of the screen. See that little yellow dot? That's indicative of the tornado, which at one time had 130 miles per hour gate-to-gate shear. That's a very strong storm, and that's why we're hearing so many problems from the Marshalltown area. Now that storm, as it's moved off to the east-southeast, has weakened considerably, and there may not be a tornado on the ground anymore just based on what we're seeing there. But we have no confirmation of that, so we have to assume there is a tornado, and it could be approaching LeGrand here very shortly, and then moving into western or southwestern parts of Tama County, but at least some weakening there. Let's take a look at that other storm up in Grundy County. I'm just kind of curious to see what's happening up in that part of our viewing area. And you know, there you can see where Hudson is there on the southern side of Cedar Falls, just south of there anyway, southwest of Waterloo. And it does appear that there's some rotation in that storm too, and this is the kind of day that can do it. We're going to go back to the reflectivity mode and see what that looks like there. Nothing that's obvious for a tornado in that region right now, but you can see in southern Grundy County, southeast Grundy County, we got a pretty strong thunderstorm there, and it looks like that'll be heading into southern Black Hawk County and then probably into northern parts of Benton County, perhaps a little of Tama County too, northeastern Tama County. So we'll have to keep an eye on that part of our viewing area for some additional strong storms. Those have definitely increased. In fact, why don't you back them up a little bit here, and we'll just kind of show our viewers what has happened with those storms there. You can just do it by hand. I think it's sometimes just go back a few. There you go. But notice how those have really strengthened and increased in coverage and intensity. So definitely want to watch that there southwest of Waterloo. Now if we can go back to the pictures, we'll show you what's going on out around Marshalltown, and very significant destruction obviously there. Looks like a car and I can't tell what that is. Something's flipped right behind that there. Any idea, guys? Can you see that? It's a van. Looks like it might be a van that's been flipped.
Turned over.
And all kinds of problems going on in that general area. I think we had another picture of the actual tornado as it was approaching Marshalltown too. It looks like that's coming up here quickly, and we'll be able to show you that. And
You can also go to, I know Nick Stewart in the Road Warrior.
yeah, if anybody has Nick out there, we'd like to be able to get him up.
There you go.
All right, so there you can see this is Nick Stewart in our Road Warrior, and he is, the last report, he was in Tama County. If anybody can let me know where he's at, I would appreciate that. But I know he's trying to get under the storm, which produced the tornado around Marshalltown.
He's just, it looks like from the GPS, he's just south west of Tama and Toledo.
Okay, and it looks to me like the center of the screen there, that could be the actual tornado. Can we go back to that image one more time? Just wanted to show you that wedge kind of area right in the middle of the screen there could conceivably be a tornado, or it's within that area of rain wrap cloudiness that surrounds it. And just to the left of that, it even looks like maybe a little satellite tornado. You see what I'm talking about, Rebecca?
Yeah, it does look like there is a little satellite.
And sometimes when you get these larger tornadoes that really wrap up like that, have a big circulation, little small tornadoes will rotate around them. Back in the Parkersburg tornado in 2008, that's something that we witnessed there. But now as we go back to the radar here, there's where LeGrand is located, and you can also see off to the southeast of there, Tama, Toledo. So it'd be right in that area near LeGrand where the potential tornado would be located right now. And there's Nick. You can see him at the bottom of the screen there. You can put him back on. There you go. And maybe move it up just a little bit, the whole screen. All right, there's our little car down there. That's the Road Warrior. And Nick is definitely in that tonight. Do we have contact with Nick at all? Can we get in contact with Nick? Okay, excellent. So as soon as we get in touch with Nick and we can speak with him, we will, but he is approaching the storm there in Tama County that has the tornado emergency associated with it. Now right there, I cannot see any evidence of a tornado touching the ground anymore, but I can clearly see a strong wall cloud that could produce a tornado at any time. So Nick's got some pictures coming out of that there that are very helpful. It does appear that at the moment the tornado may have lifted, and based on what we're seeing with our radars here, that seems to be a distinct possibility.
Yeah, the Weather Service did just update the warning. They have said there's nothing confirmed as of right now, but the storm is fully capable of producing a tornado. The center of that storm located near Meskwaki Casino, or 7 miles east of Marshalltown, moving about 20 miles per hour.
Okay. And that's not particularly fast either. Sometimes in the spring, these thunderstorms go 50, 60 miles an hour. Today's situation, you will have a little more time to prepare. So if you're in Tama County, particularly western Tama County, be advised this is a serious situation, and we have some major damage coming out of the city of Marshalltown, Iowa. Let's go further south now, where we have our tornado warning for Keokuk County. And you can see that is still looking pretty healthy down there, a lot more color to that particular one. And so that's where our circulation is located, and that would be between the small towns of Cedar and Kirkville there. But it is moving east-southeast, and it will be moving into southwestern Keokuk County, where we do have a tornado warning in effect until 5:45. And right now it doesn't look like it's impacting many towns, but of course that could change as it continues to drift on southeast. But there's no confirmation of any tornado on the ground with that right now, is there?
That's correct.
Right.
That was the one that went through
Pella?
Pella, though, yes.
Right. So it too has a history of producing a damaging tornado, and that one went through Pella and then on down near Oskaloosa and is now diving southeast. And there you can kind of see how the whole circulation is evolving. Just follow the colors there. And there they go. So if nothing else now, right on the western border of Keokuk County there, east of Cedar, you're going to see some strong winds for sure. Here's what's going on then today. We have low pressure that is moving into north central Iowa, a very strong low pressure for this time of year. And you can just see the spin associated with this. That's what's driving the circulation today that can create these supercells. We don't get these types of systems very often during the month of July. I just don't normally have the temperature contrast or the dynamics to create a weather system like this. This one's very potent, and it is going to move to the east-southeast, and until it gets to the east of us here, the chance for strong thunderstorms will continue around eastern Iowa. By the way, if somebody could grab me a glass of water, that'd be fantastic. Right now, we'll go back in on our storm there that has moved through Marshalltown and heading into Tama counties and has weakened some. Notice it's not quite as red or intense, but still rotating and still a supercell thunderstorm, to say the least.
Can we talk to Nick at all? Is that even possible? He's near Montour and is observing a large, rapidly rotating wall cloud. I don't know if he's available, if we can talk to him.
Apparently we don't have communication, but there's the wall cloud that he's speaking about right there in the center of the picture. Not producing a tornado right now, but rapidly rotating. That's the storm that earlier produced a significant tornado in the city of Marshalltown. And now we do have Nick. So Nick, you've been chasing this thing for a while now. Looks like you got a good visual on it. What can you tell us? Nick, are you there?
Hey, Terry. Yeah, we've been following the storm for quite some time now. It's in Tama County. We've been dealing with some issues with internet problems, which is why we haven't had great service. But here's that storm as it approaches the Tama area. This is just west of Tama. I'm going to zoom in here. You can kind of see there's definitely that wall cloud structure with this storm. Within the last about 5 minutes or so, it looks like it might be trying to cycle a little bit. It's you're starting to see kind of that wrap around the wall cloud yet again. They're kind of trying to see it, maybe trying to tighten up just a little bit. But within the last about 10 minutes or so, it's definitely kind of more in a weakening state more than a strengthening state, which is good news. And of course, we are looking at it live right now, and we have a perfect view on it. I'm going to pop on one of our other cameras real quick. That's kind of a wider view of the storm. You can kind of see it is definitely pretty intimidating with it. But the main part of the storm that we're focused on is that wall cloud, which would be between about Montour and Tama, just south of Highway 30.
Nick, can you tell us a little about the camera capabilities that we have with our new Road Warrior? The picture you're showing us right now is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. We have multiple cameras inside this vehicle. The one you're looking at now is on our roof-mounted camera. It can spin total 360 degrees so that we have a lot better view of what's going on, and we don't have to really stop in one place to kind of get a good view at it. We can kind of point the camera as we're driving, which is of huge help. And of course, we have another camera on the dash cam, which is kind of what we are more expected to. And within the last about, again, 5 minutes, it looks like the storm continues to kind of weaken a little bit, which is very, very good news, because some of the things that I'm hearing, and I'm sure you're hearing as well, out of Marshalltown is not very good.
And earlier, Nick, we were looking at gate-to-gate shear of 130 miles per hour. Now it's back down in the order of 35 to 40. So there's no question it has weakened substantially. But as you mentioned, these storms can cycle up. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the dynamics in play for July, and when I say dynamics, I mean the wind shear that's in play today. It really doesn't take a lot to kind of make these storms spin. You have really strong southeasterly winds. We're actually measuring southeast winds blowing into the storm with the Road Warrior. And the winds, several thousand feet aloft are coming out of the northwest. So the winds are definitely changing with height. And how strong they're changing with height, especially in the upper levels of the atmosphere, that is what's producing these more stronger tornadoes. You had that other one near Pella earlier, and of course, unfortunately, that one near Marshalltown, which sounds like it took a direct hit on Marshalltown. So, I mean, the dynamics in play, the wind shear in play today is very high, and the good news is we haven't had a lot of sunshine. So the instability is a little lacking, but the wind shear is helping trying to make up for that. And it's that instability and that wind shear that can help make these storms spin up really quick.
And once again, if you could tell us where you are specifically in Tama County, that would be helpful. And then we're going to let you go for just a second. We're going to try to keep your picture up so we can continue to see this, but we do have some new video that's coming in from Marshalltown that we want to show our viewers.
Yeah, for sure. Again, we're just south of Montour by probably about 5 miles or so. So we're probably south of Highway 30 by about 6 miles. Straight south of there, we're southwest of Tama by about 10 miles. So we're kind of in the southern portion of Tama County, which is allowing us to have a good view right into the storm, as opposed to putting us kind of in a dangerous trajectory of where it might be heading.
All right, that's great. We'll be back with you soon, Nick, but we do want to stress also to our viewers that Nick's an expert at this. He's captured about 30-some tornadoes, I think, in his career, and he's coming in it from a very safe direction. You don't want to be coming in from the direction that the storm is moving. That's where you can oftentimes get it rain-wrapped, or you could get hail, things like that. Nick is in the clear area. See where his car is down there in the corner of the screen? That is where Nick is located. There's no rain there. The sun is actually out, so he's peering right on into the center of the storm, at least the part of it that has produced a strong tornado. But for the moment, that cell has definitely weakened, and it does not look like there is a tornado on the ground, which is good news because now the core of it seems to be going right over the city of Tama. Pictures from Marshalltown. We're going to show you some new video that's come into us. I have not personally seen this yet, so not sure what we're going to see, but there's the tornado, and it definitely is a large one. Okay, and we're watching it moving in and now approaching the city of Marshalltown there. So obviously a very large tornado when it hit the city of Marshalltown and causing quite a bit of damage there. And Karen, I understand you're out here in the newsroom now with some information regarding the storms.
Yes, Terry, actually you mentioned that storm coming to Tama County right now. We have an unconfirmed report of emergency personnel perhaps being called to a hospital there. But again, this is unconfirmed, so we don't want to say that this is happening just yet. I'm working to get some more information. I'm on Twitter and I'm on Facebook looking for information and video for you, but you are right about what has happened to Marshalltown. Cars are missing or overturned. The tops of buildings are gone. Trees and power lines are down. So we want to find out what the electricity situation is there. So I'll be working on those things and bring you an update as soon as I get some new information.
All right, that's helpful. And I know, Brandon, you mentioned earlier some information about emergency vehicles. Can you pull that up again?
Yeah, they're just, Marshall County was putting an all call to any first responders to go to Marshalltown, just because of the tornado going through the town.
So we don't know if there's a pure need for that, or if they're just assuming that there's probably going to be a need, but that doesn't mean necessarily there's big problems in terms of deaths or injuries, nothing like that. Probably just getting in all the help they can to restore some order there in Marshalltown after the storm has passed on through. So we're definitely hoping for the best for the fine folks over that direction. Now if we can go back to Nick's picture here, I'd like to see what he is seeing, and looks like that's dissipated quite a bit. Can Nick still hear me? Okay, Nick, what are you seeing right now? There's a bit of a delay. That's what we have to wait for in this type of situation. All right, it appears that Nick might not be hearing us, but the storm doesn't look as ominous there as it did just 5 minutes ago, to be honest with you. So we're thinking that this is definitely in a weakening phase. And just to show you that, let's go back to the radar now, and we'll be able to give you an idea where we're at here and what we're looking at. And I don't know, right there in the center of the screen there, somewhere around Tama, is what's left of this big storm, but it has definitely fallen apart quite a bit here in the past few minutes. And I think one of the things that's happening is that it is running into some of the rain-cooled air that's been over parts of eastern Iowa since early this afternoon. So with the rain-cooled air, we don't have the instability necessary to produce these strong tornadoes anymore. And if anything, what they'll probably tend to do, these types of supercells, will turn more southeast and try and get into that warm, moist air. But you can see around Washington, it is 79 degrees right now and 77 in Iowa City, but then you jump north of Cedar Rapids and quickly you hit the 60s. So there's a wall of cool air there, and that's why our storm track is going to start driving these storms to the southeast, where they can thrive a little bit more in that moist and unstable air mass that occurs where temperatures are warmer. So that's some good news there. Now we can go back to our other storm that's headed for Keokuk County, at least southwestern Keokuk County. And now that one is clearly the strongest storm here. And since it's diving quickly southeast, it looks like it's going to be out of Keokuk County here pretty shortly. And because of the turn southeast, it really hasn't impacted a great deal of Keokuk County, and the worst of it is no longer in that county. Looks like it'd be just off to the southwest. So velocity mode here will probably indicate to us if there is any circulation left, and there certainly is there, and that would be well down to the southwest of Hendrick, right in that region there. So it looks like the storm has pretty much gotten out of Keokuk County, hasn't it there?
Yeah, it does look like most of the circulation is definitely just southwest of the county. Could still be some strong winds around the Hendrick area, but for the most part, the strongest part of it's avoiding Keokuk County.
Okay, so that's really good news for Keokuk County. And if you're up in Tama County, that storm has rapidly weakened up there. So things have improved a little bit here in the past 15 minutes. Some of the storms have lost some of their steam, but in a situation like this, they tend to recycle a lot of times, so we can't say the all clear, that is for sure. And we do have a tornado watch that's out for our western and southern counties until 10 o'clock tonight. And right now we're getting up some new data for you. You can see our temperature though has made it to 74 here in Cedar Rapids, and our dew point has climbed to 70. So we're kind of on the edge of the instability here, and there's your tornado watch for those counties in yellow until 10 o'clock tonight. And that does include Tama, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Washington, and most of the areas west and south of that. And just look at how that storm just fell apart there once it went through Marshalltown. Looks like it just spent itself, and whoosh. So that one has really dried up, and just as Nick got there to take pictures, the thing pretty much fell apart. But if we back it out to see a little bit more of our viewing area, I think you're going to clearly notice the strongest storm is well down to the south there, be north of Ottumwa, and that one is dangerous to say the least. But the rest of the thunderstorms on there, considerably weaker right now. Still some locally heavy rain in some of these, but the tornado threat has decreased substantially in the last 15.
There was an observed tornado near Ottumwa. Actually, so they do have a confirmed tornado near the Ottumwa Industrial Airport.
Okay, which is out of our viewing area,
Yes.
but it is still a tornado, and you'd expect that when you see a storm like that. That's a very, very large thunderstorm there, and there's your couplet associated with that. So it is now pretty close to the city of Ottumwa, and hopefully that one avoids Ottumwa. The storm that went through Marshalltown earlier did not. So we'll hope that this one stays out in the open country or weakens here very quickly. But Ottumwa, real close to the track of that strong storm there.
And I did just want to take it out. A lot of people on Facebook were asking about other parts of the area. I know a lot of people, Jones County Fair, they had some storms that moved through there. We do have some storms still out to the west, so not totally in the clear in terms of rain, but the severe threat is definitely lower out in Jones County.
Yeah, we can't stress that enough, and that's something we just talked about not too long ago. The atmosphere is just much cooler up there. Didn't get any heating today, and it's a little bit further away from the dynamics and where everything is aligned. So I think the threat for severe weather in the northeast half of our viewing area, from Waterloo and Cedar Rapids over to Clinton, northeast of that line, pretty limited chance for severe weather. However, further to the south, especially down there in Washington, maybe parts of Lynn County, Johnson County, southern Lynn County, Iowa County, there's still some instability there that could produce a strong storm. But we're not seeing anything on the radar right now that shows anything of threatening nature in that part of our viewing area. So we're hoping that passes on by and we can get through this part of it here real quickly. Anything new to report on the chats there, Brandon? He's in touch with the National Weather Service. Any reports that come out of there, he can relay to us instantly.
Nothing that I'm seeing, nothing new that we haven't really talked about, so.
Well, and when it's quiet, that's usually good. When things are happening, we get a lot of reports on there, and that thing is dinging away. Right now, it's turned a lot quieter, and that means things are definitely improving here in eastern Iowa. And what do we have here? Our warning is still 5:45 in Keokuk County, is that right?
5:45 in Keokuk and in Tama.
All right. Now, You know, I got to think there's a decent chance that these could be canceled earlier. A storm in Tama County there, not nearly as impressive looking now. Not seeing much circulation.
No, really nice weekend.
And what was the name of that young man there? Okay. We do have a man in Marshalltown right now, Zach Sharp, who is there. I don't know, did you experience the tornado itself, Zach?
Hey, yeah, hey Terry. No, we were following the storm that rolled into Marshalltown. And that's where we saw the significant damage, where we still are at. And we continue to witness what appears to be a very strong tornado that rolled through here. Very easily EF2, EF3 damage. We have garages that are completely down. Roofs are missing shingles. People are now getting out to view the damage firsthand with lots of their belongings. It does appear that homes are still intact, but buildings and garages and roofs that are gone. We see trampolines and swing sets that are gone. Multiple power lines are gone. And we've seen those large tree branches, even trees uprooted from this tornado.
Zach, would you say you've been in the area where the worst of the damage has occurred, or are you just kind of on the periphery of that?
We would say we're probably in the heart of it right now. We're near the Linux plant in Marshalltown, so if anyone knows where that's at, the Linux plant has received significant damage.
What would that be?
Water
West?
into the air about 25 feet.
And we're getting
Very significant damage from this tornado.
I'm sorry, we're getting a little feedback from you there. It kind of comes and goes. But would you say it's the west, northeast, central part of Marshalltown where the worst damage is?
This is on the northeast side of Marshalltown.
Okay. And everything kind of in chaos there right now, I would imagine. Do you see any emergency vehicles? Does there appear to be any problems with that?
You can hear multiple emergency crews showing up on hand. I would imagine surrounding communities are helping assist with Marshalltown right now, just due to the extent of the damage here in town. But when we first rolled up, we were within minutes of the tornado rolling through, so we were first on hand. We're seeing people coming out, sort of doing unsafe practices. They were walking near power lines. You got to treat those power lines as if they are alive. But we do have multiple power lines down. That is a hazard. Not hearing any reports right now of any gas lines that have ruptured, but mainly it's significant damage in the way of trees and structural damage.
Zach, did you see the tornado then when you were approaching town?
Yes. So we were chasing it from the west side of Marshalltown into Marshalltown, and you could tell it was a very large and violent tornado. It was very rain-wrapped. It was getting cut off by that rain, which is why it quickly dissipated once it got to the east side of town. But as it rolled through Marshalltown, we did see those rain bands dancing around, and you could tell with how wide those rain bands were dancing around the current circulation that you could tell it was a very wide tornado that was causing significant damage to town.
Yeah, it looked like it really fired up fast there, and then just as soon as it got through Marshalltown, we noticed a rapidly decreasing storm, which is exactly what you're talking about there, running into that rain-cooled air.
Yep. So once we got into town, we quickly got cut off by the storm simply because the multiple trees that were down by those strong winds that rolled through with this tornado. But we were eventually able to catch up with it on the west or the east side of town. Excuse me.
Could you give us an indication maybe of how wide the damage is, quarter mile?
It's probably a quarter mile wide, maybe half mile wide indication. Without really getting aerial look right now, we haven't launched the drone to see how wide the swath is. But I would imagine by what we can see visually on the ground, it would probably be up near a half mile wide.
And as far as you have heard, no injuries at this point?
Yeah, so far we've seen no one in the way of injuries. We hear multiple crews around right now with their sirens on. So we'll continue to get a first look here and see if we get any other reports from officials. But right now we have spoken to a few residents that were here during the tornado, and they said as it rolled through the area, it was just a loud, very loud roar as an indication of a very strong tornado.
Now, there was another cell probably just south of you. Was there a reason why you picked the northern one, which went through Marshalltown itself?
If you're referring to the one near Pella,
Yeah.
just due to the way we strategized today, we were up near Highway 30, so by the time we would be able to get to that one, we would be way out of range. So we stuck with the northern options as this whole line of storms was just rotating everything that was, even the weakest cell that had very little core to it was causing a funnel. We've seen multiple funnels. At last count, I believe we saw 7 funnel clouds. And then as we were approaching this one near Marshalltown, which we originally started back east towards Ames, or west towards Ames, that's the one that caused this very violent tornado.
Yeah, it was really impressive how fast that spun up there. And we really want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us. If you find anything out here in the next few minutes, we'd love to hear from you again. But be safe out there. We know there's a lot of damage and power lines and things hanging around. But again, thanks, Zach, for taking the time to talk to us.
You're welcome, Terry.
All right, you take care.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, that brings us back to the radar. And why don't we go to just reflectivity mode there? That'll help people just a tad to see what's going on. This is what you typically see when we show you on the air during our newscasts. And pretty strong cell there appears to be southeast of Vining. And that, again, is just to the west of Keystone there. Keystone's in Benton County, I believe. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that looks like it's just going to catch the southwest corner of Benton County, probably going to stay southwest of Keystone, and then from there it should move on to the southeast. And if you can back her up a little bit, I'll be able to talk more about it. Looks like Iowa County would have some impact from that. Belle Plaine is obviously in the path right now, and Belle Plaine, Luzerne, and Marengo will be experiencing this storm between now and about 5:45 this evening. And hopefully the tornado warning itself is not extended or moved off to the southeast. But right now, those areas are not under tornado warnings. But Poweshiek and Tama are until 5:45 this evening.
And then we do also have that storm down to the south. And there was just a report in Keokuk County of 70-mile-an-hour winds in Hendrick. So that's just that southwestern edge there.
Yeah. So fortunately, no tornadic circulation in that area, but straight line winds of 70 miles an hour will cause quite a bit of damage as well. And there you can see there is some broad circulation around the Hedrick area there, which is going to be moving southeast and getting out of Keokuk County, and at that point it's out of our viewing area. But still some pretty stout stuff going on down there in southwestern Keokuk County, where the tornado warning remains in effect until 5:45. Yes.
Terry, I have some new information for you on outages. I've been checking with Mid-American. We've checked with Mid-American, Alliant, and also the areas of Bondurant and around Des Moines. Mid-American is reporting about 3,900 outages in that area by Des Moines, a suburb of Des Moines. And in Marshalltown, we're told about 9,600 people are without power for Alliant Energy there in Marshalltown, which did take what is being called a catastrophic hit. About 1,800 people are out of power in Tama, I believe. That is the latest report, from Bondurant. The 1,800 is from Bondurant at this hour from Mid-American. So you've got Alliant and Mid-American, and I'm going to check some others here, but around 9,600 is the highest amount that we have, and that is in Marshalltown, no doubt.
Yes, and that storm that went through there, thanks to our storm chaser that we talked to, Zach, he indicated it was probably at least an F2, perhaps an F3. And when you get up to the F3 level, you're talking winds of 150, maybe 160 miles an hour. So that's why there is extensive damage in the Marshalltown area. And when we go to our radar here and track that, we'll just take it real nice and slow, bring it back through Marshalltown. And why don't you go in just a little bit closer so you can see the hook on this. We were watching it in our office here, and right there we're just going, oh man, that looks like Oklahoma. That is a classic hook echo. And we were quite sure there was a strong tornado on the ground. When you see a signature like that, you know you got trouble. And then it goes bang right over the top of Marshalltown there. And we do know there's a lot of damage, but as far as we know, no injuries or fatalities, despite the fact it was probably a violent tornado and may have had a path of anywhere between a quarter and a half a mile. That's pretty great news to get through a situation like that without any injuries or deaths. So good news.
And the National Weather Service did expire the tornado warning for Tama County.
All right, so Tama County is out, and we're also getting down into southwestern parts of Keokuk County, and we're going to go down there, and you can see the worst of that has now moved just to the south and should be out of Keokuk County here very, very shortly. So I think it's safe to say that for the moment, we are kind of in a lull here and hoping we can keep it that way for the rest of tonight. We do have the tornado watch in effect, though, for our western and southern counties until 10 o'clock this evening. But for now, we're going to take a break here, catch our breath, and we'll be back, of course, at 6 o'clock with a full rundown on all the severe weather that's occurred in our western and southern counties this afternoon.